You don't know how much I love you.
Oh.
Yes, and I'm so happy to have you here and have this conversation with you. So people don't know you, Cynthia Davis. Tell us who you are.
Right, okay. It's always weird when people ask me, who am I? Cynthia Davis. So I'm chief exec of a couple of companies. One which is a diversity and inclusion recruitment firm called BAME Recruitment, and the other one's a tech platform called diversifying.io. So I run two businesses, but I also am chair of a children's literature charity, and also chair of a children's well-being and facilities charity as well. I'm a trustee there, so I try to do a number of things. But my most important job is I'm a mum to an 8-year-old girl who's here today. So my proudest moment is having my daughter here with me today. So that's who I am.
So you do a lot of things. Yeah, you know, I do wonder how I admire mom entrepreneur or mom, you know, or professionals. It takes a lot of, you know, it's hard because you always conflict between I want to work hard, but also I want to go to my child's play or whatever it is. So just think in terms of your journey, because you are, you know, as you explained, you work with talent, and you know, you haven't addressed us, but you know, you've been working with the Mayor of London, helping him attract more diversity at the top. I think that's one thing, because people always talk about diversity, but it's like at the bottom. Like, okay, so you're talking about black women at the reception, that doesn't mean that you're diverse. Excuse me, okay? So what are you doing at the top? So it's true though.
So true.
It's really frustrating. People say, "Have a diverse and the entire team in India."
Yeah.
Okay, that doesn't really mean that you're diverse either. So what has been the thing that you've learned in terms of, or maybe for tech companies listening to, the importance of starting from the top instead of the bottom?
Yeah, I think for me, for any change to take place, it has to be led from the top. And if we look at the FTSE 100 or any of the top companies, they're all run by people that don't look anything like us.
Yeah.
They run by, you know, white middle-class men, you know, and unfortunately the world is not only made up of white middle-class men, you know, the world is made up of, you know, everybody that we see represented on the streets. And unfortunately, the higher up you go in organizations, the less diversity you see, and especially when you get to senior leadership, I'm talking about board level here. For me, that frustration of, well, why is the door closed? You know, why are we not coming through? We only let through to a certain part, but we're not let through all the way. And it's not the fact that the talent isn't there. So for me, that's been the biggest drive. I kind of call it my mission for the past few years of, you know, trying to challenge the status quo. Why do we not have leaders at the top of the organizations that look and represent society? And especially when we talk about black representation, there's only 1% of leaders on the FTSE 100 that are actually from a black background. You know, that is appalling. You know, it's 2021 and we're still not getting that seat around that table.
Yeah.
It's not that people are not there or the talent isn't there. We're still just not allowed in the room. So that's what we're still fighting for every day, and it's been a mission of mine for the last few years where I've been campaigning to try and get more diversity at senior level.
So what is this issue? Why can't we? What have you been doing in terms of trying to fix the problem from the top? What are maybe solutions that you can share for people to think in terms of, this is what I need to do? Is it having a strategy, having a structure in place to think in terms of your recruitment process? What is it? Why are they not able to do that?
Yeah, I mean, if we think historically on how most organizations tend to recruit, they recruit from their networks, people that they know. So if they look a certain way, guess what? The people that they know are of a certain background. And historically, if you were not part of a club, as I kind of call it, you didn't even get a chance to even know of these opportunities. A lot of the times you just hear that somebody's been appointed. No one even heard that there was a vacancy going, you know, so it's having people that were always speaking up for you in those rooms that you weren't allowed in. So if you didn't have somebody that was speaking up for you in those rooms or championing you, chances are you didn't even get the opportunities, or you didn't even get to hear of the opportunities. So the way that you know, opportunities are done, we know it's not a level playing field. So that's where the biggest challenge is. It's not equal access to opportunities, and that's where we have to start breaking those barriers. There's a lot of systemic kind of challenges that we still have to overcome about how opportunities are handed out and given, and how people can access those opportunities. So some of the things that we've been doing is to try to work with organizations around their recruitment processes, because for me it's about how do you bring people along. It's about getting them to come to feel that they're coming to an organization where they can belong, where they can be themselves, where they're not asked to change who they are, but that the environment's right for them, that they don't they can be their true authentic selves. And I say that, with so much importance, that you cannot go into an environment where you have to try and pretend to be yourself for 8-9 hours every day. It's exhausting. It really is exhausting. So you have to create the right environment where people can succeed, they can thrive, and they can grow, but they can also progress. For me, it's that progression that is also important, because without that, guess what? People will leave in a couple of years and they'll go seek that progression elsewhere. So the three things have to really go hand in hand: how you attract people, your recruitment processes, how you retain that talent, and also how you progress that talent. So as long as people can look at that, the end-to-end process, they're more likely to start looking at where the challenges might be and where they can start to dismantle some of those barriers.
I love that. You're in the book, your mother.
Thank you for having me in the book.
My pleasure. What do you think it's so important to have this book, and what is it so important to talk about Black women in technology?
For me, the biggest thing about being in the book was earlier when my daughter opened the book and she was racing through the pages and she saw my face and she went, "Mommy, that's you." That just made my heart sing. I literally just welled up, because for so long my daughter doesn't see people that look like her when she opens up books. If she was to think of a career in STEM or technology, what does she see? Does she see people that look like her mum or people that look like her? No, she doesn't. And until we start to break that and start to show that, guess what? The talent is there. There are people that look like you. The next generation will grow up thinking it's not possible. You can't be what you can't see. So for me, that representation and that book should be in every school. Every child should have access to that book so that they can see what is possible. And it doesn't matter what background you come from. When I read that book and I heard of the amazing stories of the women that were in there, every single one's story was so unique, so amazing, so different, but they all had challenges. That's the one thing I took from that book, is every single woman overcame a challenge. So it's getting the young generation to realize it doesn't matter where you start off, it's where you end. And it's how you smash those barriers to get to where you want to see. And that should be almost a Bible that kids use to get to the next level and to keep pushing them forward.
Can we just give them a round? I could not say it any better. I have one last question to ask you. Let's talk about legacy. If you think about how you want to be remembered, how does it look like?
I want to be remembered as somebody that gave a damn. Somebody that actually gave a damn and did something about it. For me, it's making sure that, when my daughter finally gets to work, she's not judged because of her gender. She's not paid less because of her gender. She's not paid less because of ethnicity. She's given equal opportunities as everybody else. And that I've been part of driving some of that change. I can't wait for my daughter to inherit a world that I've not played a part in changing. So for me, that's my legacy, is I've tried. Even if it's just a little bit, even if it's one person I've made a difference to, that's one person who I've made a difference in their life.
That's amazing. Thank you so much. Woo! And I guess this is a wrap.